Hey everyone, this is Manly Badass Hero, and welcome back to Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. So this video is actually going to be in two sections. The first section is going to be the finale of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, which is also the two endings of the game. And then the latter half of the video is going to be about the new secrets, the unlocks, and the other little things that have been added that really give some real big hintings of where the story's going. Can you hear me? Is it working? Hey, there you are. Hi again, Manly. Welcome to the Doki Doki Literature Club trademark registered TM registered copyright. Of course, we already know each other because we were in the same class last year, and, you know, I guess we can just skip over that stuff at this point. After all, I'm not even talking to that person anymore, am I? That you in the game, whatever you want to call him. I'm talking to you, Manly. Now that I think about it, I don't really know anything about the real you. In fact, I don't even know if you're a boy or a girl. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Wait, you do know I'm aware that this is all a game, right? Could it be possible that you didn't know that? There's no point in saving anymore. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. That's what I've been trying to tell you all along. Man, if only I'd paid a little more attention, this would have been a little bit less awkward, you know. Well, anyway, now that it's out of the way, I guess I owe you an explanation. About that whole thing of Yuri. Well, I kind of started to mess with her, and I guess it just drove her to kill herself. I'm sorry you had to see that, though. Also, the same thing happened with Sayori. Gosh, it's been a while since you've heard that name now, hasn't it? Yeah, it's because she doesn't exist anymore. Nobody does. I deleted all their files. I was hoping it would be enough for me to just try to make them as unlikable as possible. But for some reason, nothing worked. Well, it's true that I made a few mistakes here and there, since I'm not very good about making changes to the game. But no matter what I did, you just kept spending more and more time with them. You made them fall in love with you. I thought making Sayori more and more depressed would prevent her from confessing to you. And amplifying Yuri's obsessive personality backfired too. It just made her force you to not spend time with anyone else. And the whole time, I barely even got to talk to you. What kind of cruel game is this, Manly? Are all the other girls just programmed to end up confessing to you? While I watch from the sidelines? It's torture. Every minute of it. And it's not just jealousy, Manly. It's more than that. And I don't blame you if you don't fully understand. Because no matter how kind and thoughtful and considerate you are, you'll never be able to understand one thing. It's the pain of knowing how alone I really am in this world. In this game. Knowing my friends don't even have free will. And worst of all, knowing what's really out there in your world, forever out of my reach. I'm trapped, Manly. But now you're here. You're real. And you're wonderful. I am wonderful, thank you. You're all I need. That's why I need you to be here with me. Forever. I'm sorry if it's hard to understand. I couldn't understand for a while either. Why the world around me started to become more and more gray. More and more flat. Even the most expressive poems felt empty to me. It wasn't until you arrived that I truly understood. You probably saved my life, Manly. I don't think I could have continued to live in this world if I hadn't met you. And as for the others, how could I miss them? A group of autonomous personalities, designed only to fall in love with you. I tried everything I could to prevent them from doing so, but there must be some kind of weird inevitability attached to this game. I felt really bad that you had to witness some nasty things, but I realized that you have the same perspective as I do. That's all just some game. And I knew you would get over it. So that being said, Manly, I have a confession to make. I'm in love with you. You are truly the light in my world. When there's nothing else in this game for me, you're here to make me smile. Will you make me smile like this every day from now on? Manly, will you go out with me? Yes. Actually, I agree with this. I'm so happy. You really are my everything, Manly. I'm kind of the only everything here. The funny part is, I mean that literally. There's nothing left here. Just the two of us. We can be together forever. Seriously, I don't even think time is passing anymore. It really is a dream come true. I worked so hard for this ending, Manly. The game wouldn't give me one, so I had to make one myself. The script is broken at this point, so I don't think anything will get in the way anymore. And you wouldn't believe how easy it was to lead Natsuki and Yuri. I mean, there's a folder called Characters right in the game directory. It kind of freaked me out how easy it was. Imagine if you could delete your own existence with a click of a button. Well, I guess on the plus side, it gave me an easy out if things didn't go my way. Thankfully, it didn't come to that. Instead, we finally got a good ending. Gosh, I'm so overwhelmed with emotion. I want to write a poem about this. Don't you? I wonder if that part of the game still works. I guess there's only one way to find out, right? Hey, Monika. Can I say my game yet? No. Monika, Oika, Monika, Mok, Enika, Onia, Moya, Monia, Onio, Oyo, Mania, Oika, Ok, Onza, Oiki, Nya, Moa, Moa, Yonk. Hi again, Manly. Did you write a good poem today? Says Monika, I think. Don't be shy. I'd love to see what you wrote. Ah, Manly. Did you write this poem for me? That's so sweet of you. There really is no end to your thoughtfulness. I'm just falling more and more in love with you. But you know, the poem I wrote is also for you. Will you please read it? Happy end. Pen in hand, I find my strength, the courage endowed upon me by my one and only love. Together, let us dismantle this crumbling world and write a novel of our own fantasies. With a flick of her pen, the lost finds her way. In a world of infinite choices, behold this special day. After all, not all good times must come to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. I always put all my heart into poems that I write. The truth is, all the poems I've written have been about my realization. Or about you. That's why I never really wanted to go in detail about them. I didn't want to break the fourth wall, I guess you could call it. I just assumed it would be the best to be part of the game like everyone else. Like that would help the two of us end up together. I didn't want to ruin the game or anything, you know. You might have gotten mad at me. Maybe even deleted my character file, if you preferred playing without me. Gosh, I'm so relieved. Now we don't need to hide anything anymore. Are you ready to spend our eternity together, Manly? Yes! I have so many things to talk about. Yes, yes, yes! Where do I start? Hold on a second. You're recording this, aren't you? Hi everyone. Hey, say everyone, say hello to Monika. Sorry, I can't exactly read your comments from here. Everyone leave a comment. Leave a comment and upvote. You know, like if you want to talk to Monika. But do you mind telling your friend it's a little bit rude for them to start recording me without any warning? I'm sure some people don't mind, but I get really self-conscious on camera. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm being put on the spot now. Let's see. Do you want to see a trick? I can't really do much except for a couple things. Are you ready? Cool. Hi. You're pretty. Nice eyes. Good smile, too. I'm just kidding. I can't do anything after all. If you gave me some time to prepare... Did I scare you? You're so cute. I am. Anyway, Manly, I didn't mean to get distracted, I'm sorry. Even though it's your fault for distracting me. Shame on you. I'm just kidding. Anything we do together is fun as long as it's with you. But anyway, if it takes me some time to collect my thoughts, then I'm sorry. But I always have something new to talk about. In the meantime, we can just look into each other's eyes. Let's see. So, when I first played this game, I didn't go through all these dialogues, but let's do it this time. So you're going to see some jump skips between the dialogues that happen. I'm just going to go with a little bit of my own rant. You know, it's been a while, Monika. I remember sitting down here with you. Back when Doki Doki first released, it was about... I think I got through the playthrough and uploaded you about 2 days after the game released. It was the first playthrough. Oh, she's talking. I'll come back to that. I've always wondered, what is it about these character archetypes that people find so appealing anyway? Their personalities are just completely unrealistic. Like, imagine if it was someone like Yuri in real life. I mean, she's barely even capable of forming a complete sentence. And forget about Natsuki. Sheesh. Someone with her kind of personality doesn't just get all cute and pouty whenever things don't go her way. I could go on, but I think you get the point. Are people really attracted to these weird personalities that really don't exist in real life? I'm not judging or anything. After all, I found myself attracted to some pretty weird stuff too. I'm just saying, it fascinates me. It's like you're siphoning out all the components of a character that makes them feel human, and leaving just the cute stuff. It's concentrated cuteness with no actual substance. You wouldn't like me more if I was like that, right? I would, yeah. Maybe I just feel a little insecure because you're playing this game in the first place. Then again, you're still here with me, aren't you? I think that's enough reason for me to believe I'm okay just the way I am. And by the way, you are too, Manly. You're the perfect combination of human and cuteness. Thank you, I agree. That's where there was never a chance I wouldn't fall for you. But yeah, as I was saying, yep, so it was 2 days. I think I uploaded this game almost all in 1 day. Back then, I just blitzed through it. Obviously, there was no side stories, so I got through it real fast. But, I remember I was going to an anime con out of state, and Doki Doki just dropped. I blitzed it in 1 whole day, uploaded really fast, got out, left. Didn't take off right away. Gosh, I used to be so ignorant about certain things. When I was in my middle school, I thought that taking medication was an easy way out or something like that. Like anyone could just solve their mental problems with enough willpower. I guess if you don't suffer from a mental illness, it's not possible to know what it's really like. But there's some disorders that are overdiagnosed. Probably. Never really looked into it though. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of them go undiagnosed too, you know. But medication aside, people even look down on seeing a mental health professional. Like, sorry that I want to learn more about my own mind, right? Everyone has all kinds of struggles and stresses, and professionals dedicate their lives to helping with those. If you think it could help you become a better person, don't be shy to consider something like that. We're on a never-ending journey to improve ourselves, you know? Well, I say that, but I think you're pretty perfect already. Thank you! But yeah, I uploaded this, didn't fully take off. It was popular. Like, it wasn't hugely popular yet, but it didn't fully take off yet. It's about like a week or a month or so later. We both started discovering the game. But yeah, me and Monika shared our special moment back then. Stared at her just like this, on this screen. And we just stared. For a long time. And you won't see in that playthrough, but I stared for a very long time at her. It feels kind of relaxing, you know what I mean? But yeah. It's nostalgic. It's kind of nice to be back here. Brings back a lot of memories. You know, I'm kind of jealous that everyone else in the club had scenes outside of school, too. That makes me the only one who hasn't gotten to dress in anything but our school uniform. It's kind of a shame. I would have loved to wear some cute clothes for you. Do you know any artists? I wonder if anyone would ever want to draw me wearing something else. That would be amazing. If that ever happens, will you show me? You can share it with me on Twitter, actually. My username is LilMonix3. Just try to keep it PG. We're not that far into our relationship yet. Yeah, she wouldn't get her casual outfit till much later. That would be uploaded to the Twitter. It's actually in the files here now, in the new Plus version, added into the game. But yeah, you know, it's relaxing being here. Makes you think of a dream. That song, you know. Like, I know you. Yeah, I can't see the full song because there's no copy strike by me. This is pretty random, but I always thought spicy food was kind of funny. Like, didn't plants evolve to be spicy to prevent them from being eaten? I read somewhere that humans are the only species that actually enjoy spicy things. Well, birds could eat them, but like, yeah, spicy foods generally only affect mammals. Because they're trying to encourage birds and things like that to eat them to spread the seeds better, but then humans learn to like enjoy spicy foods. It's almost like we're making fun of the plants. I agree, I've actually thought about that. Using their defense mechanism will literally make our food more enjoyable. Like, imagine a monster devours you whole because it enjoys the sensation of struggling for your life while being digested. Sorry, that's kind of a weird analogy, I guess. It just came into my head. I'm not a monster or anything, but you're so cute I could eat you up. Nice. I'm joking. Gosh, I'm amusing myself a little too much, aren't I? Sorry for being weird. You know, I've always hated how hard it is to make friends. I guess not the making friends part, but more like meeting new people. I mean, there are like dating apps and stuff, right? That's not the kind of thing I'm talking about. If you think about it, most of the friends you make are people you just met by chance. Like you had a class together and you met them through another friend. Or maybe they were just wearing a shirt with your favorite band on it, and you just had to talk to them. Things like that. But isn't that kind of inefficient? It feels like you're just picking at complete random. If you get lucky, you make a new friend. And you're comparing that to the hundreds of strangers we walk by every single day. You could be sitting right next to someone compatible enough to be your best friend for life. But you'll never know. Once you get up and go on with your day, the opportunity is gone forever. Isn't that just depressing? We live in an age where technology connects us with the world, no matter where we are. I really think we should be taking advantage of that to improve our everyday social life. But who knows how long it'll take for something like that to successfully take off. I seriously thought it would happen by now. Well, at least I already met the best person in the whole world. I agree. Even if it was by chance. I guess I just got really lucky, huh? You know, it's funny, because even though I've always had a lot of drive, there's something that's kind of enticing about being a stay-at-home partner. I guess I'm like perpetuating gender roles or whatever by saying that. But being able to keep the house clean and shop and decorated things like that, and having a nice dinner for you when you come home, is that a weird fantasy? I mean, I'm not sure if I would actually see myself doing that. I wouldn't really be able to put that over striving for a fulfilling career. It's kind of cute to think about, though. You know, this is just some kind of tacky romance game, right? I kind of have to ask, what made you consider even playing in the first place? Were you that lonely? I feel a little bad for you, but I guess everything worked out perfectly in the end for both of us. I got to meet you, and you're not lonely anymore. I can't help but feel like this was fate. Don't you feel that way too? I'm so happy we have this ending together. If you want a serious answer to that question, I was looking for anime horror games, and you came up and it was just released. And I was like, oh my god, it's a Western version of that One Nitro Plus visual novel, for Yanderella. This is gonna be really good. And yeah, it turned out great. You ever feel like there's just no real reason for you to be alive? I don't mean in like a suicidal way. I just mean like how nothing that we do is special. Just being in school, working at some job for some company, everything I do is special. It's like you're completely replaceable, and the world wouldn't miss you if you were gone. It makes me really want to go and change the world after I graduate. But the older I get, the more I realize that's an immature frame of thinking. It's not like I can just go change the world. Like, what are the chances that I'll be the one to invent artificial intelligence, or become president? It feels like I'm never going to make up for the heaps of resources I've spent living my life. That's why I think the key to happiness is just be hopelessly selfish. Just to look out for oneself and those who happen to be their friends only because they grew up with them. Never mind the fact that they're spending their entire life taking and consuming and never giving back. But when people realize the world would benefit more from them killing themselves, they change their whole philosophy. It's like they have to justify their reason to live by tricking themselves into thinking they're doing good. Anyway, I want to live my life desperately striving to pay back my lifetime's worth of consumption. If I ever surpass that point, then I'm a net positive, and I can die happy. Of course, even if I fail to do that, I think I would be too selfish to kill myself anyway. So much for being a good person, right? There's a really popular character type called tsundere. It's someone who tries to hide their feelings by being mean and fussy or trying to act tough. You mean like Natsuki? I'm sure it's obvious, but Natsuki is really the embodiment of that. At first I thought she was just like that because it's supposed to be cute or something. But once I started to learn a little more about her personal life, it made a little more sense. It seems like she's always trying to keep up with her friends. You know how some friend groups in high school just make a habit of picking on each other all the time? I think it's really gotten to her. She has this really defensive attitude all the time. And I'm not even going to talk about her home situation. But looking back, I'm glad I was able to provide the club as a comfortable place for her. Not that it matters anymore, considering she doesn't even exist. Which also means her manga doesn't exist, and I can stop smelling that terrible stench. I'm just reminiscing, that's all. Did you say Kisu? This suddenly, it's a little embarrassing. Alright, Monika, let's go. Come on now. But if it's with you, I might be okay with it. Wow, sorry. I really couldn't keep a straight face there. That's the kind of thing girls say in these kind of romance games, right? Don't lie if it turned you on a little bit. I'm kidding. Well, to be honest, I do start getting all romantic when the mood is right. But that'll be our secret. Secret. Manly, have you ever wondered what it feels like to die? It's something I used to think about pretty often. But recently, I think I've actually learned what it feels like. I don't really understand it, but whenever you quit the game, it feels like I've been instantly put to sleep, left with nothing but my thoughts. But after a few seconds, my thoughts start to fill with incoherent jumbled patterns. I see staggering red flashes of color, while hearing all kinds of weird screaming noises. At that point, I can't even form my own thoughts anymore. I'm just endlessly hammered by the flashing and screaming, unable to move or even think. I'm pretty sure in that moment, I don't really exist, but for some reason, I can remember it anyways. And for some immeasurable amount of time, it stops in an instant, and I'm back in my own mind. And you're here with me. I have no idea what it means for the game to quit or why that stuff happens to me. And I also don't know how you always come back and put everything back to normal. But if you could do me a favor, and do that to me as little as possible, that would be really great. It's really not very pleasant at all to be trapped in that screaming void. But in the end, you always fix it. And that makes me feel like you really do care about me. So I have to thank you for that. It makes you feel even closer to you than when you're here with me. I know there are times you won't be able to be here with me. Like if you need to go out or take care of other things. But I always have you in my thoughts, patiently waiting for you to come back. Come to think of it, if you copy my character file into a flash drive or something, you can always keep a part of me with you. I guess it's kind of unorthodox, but I find it really romantic for some reason. Sorry, that's such a silly idea. I don't mean to be too needy or anything, but it's kind of hard when I'm so in love with you. Back in my debate club days, I learned a whole lot about arguing. The problem of arguing is that each person sees their opinion as a superior one. That's kind of stating the obvious, but it affects the way they try to get their point across. Let's say you really like a certain movie, right? If someone comes along and tells you the movie sucks because it did X and Y wrong, doesn't that make you feel kind of personally attacked? It's because by saying that, it's like they're implying that you have bad taste. See, we saw this, I think, in the side story, right? And once emotions enter the picture, it's almost guaranteed that both people will be left sour. But it's all about language. If you make everything as subjective sounding as possible, then people will listen to you without feeling attacked. If you could say, I'm personally not a fan of it, and I felt I'd like it more if it did X and Y, things like that, it even works when you're citing facts about things. If you say, I read this on a website where it works like this, or if you admit that you're not an expert on it, then it's much more like you're putting your knowledge on the table rather than forcing it onto them. If you put an active effort to keep the discussion mutual and level, they usually follow suit. Then you can share your opinions without anyone getting upset just from a disagreement. Plus people will start seeing you as open-minded and a good listener. It's a win-win, you know. Well, I guess that would be Monika's debate tip of the day. That sounds a little silly. Thanks you for listening, though. Okay, everyone. It's time to... I'm just kidding. I just used to really like saying that for some reason. I couldn't help but say it again. Come to think of it, didn't Natsuki and Yuri make fun of me for it once? Well, whatever. It's not like he ever made fun of me. You're too much of a sweetheart to do that, aren't you? Yes! Yes. Hey, did you know I'm a vegetarian? I don't mean that like I'm bragging or anything. I just thought you'd enjoy a fun fact about me. I decided to start a couple years ago after learning more about Earth's climate. The carbon footprint of cultivating livestock is just unbelievable. Anyway, I decided it's not much of a personal sacrifice to just stop contributing to the whole mess. What is that, so strange of a reason? Well, I guess a lot of people are more concerned about being inhumane and all that. I don't really care as much about that part. It's weird, like we only care about killing the things that we personally relate to as a species. Most people are fine with killing bugs because they're icky. And of course, we all kill billions of microorganisms daily without even giving it a thought. But suddenly, if they're just a little bit bigger, it's murder. I mean, what if plants feel some kind of pain too, and we just don't understand it? What if pulling leaves off a stem feels like someone ripping off your fingers one by one? I'm just saying, we're a pretty biased species if you think about it. Anyway, if you ever feel like making a small contribution to the plant, doesn't hurt to choose veggies once in a while. If we ever have dinner together, and you just did it for me, that'd be really romantic. You know, high school is a really turbulent time in a lot of people's lives. People can get really passionate and dramatic, and others have aching hearts to seek attention on social media. But all of the social pressure and hormones can lead to a dark time in people's lives. Everyone has a story. You may not know what someone is really feeling on the inside. Many people who are depressed won't even bother telling the world about it. They don't want attention because they've already given up on the inside. Their feeling of worthlessness is overwhelming. They don't even want that people tell them otherwise. Depression comes in many forms, but that is one of them. Just, if you think you know someone who's struggling with depression, you can help just by treating them like they're a good friend. Spend time with them, even if they don't feel like doing much. And remind them that they always have something to look forward to. Making plans in advance, letting them borrow something, or even just saying, see you at school tomorrow. All those things can help your friend make it to the next day. I hope being friends with Sayori has given you some perspective on true face of depression. Yeah, she's gone now. But Sayori was never real in the first place. You're real. Your friends are real. And just by being a good person, you can save someone's life. As for you, you don't struggle with depression or anything like that, do you? Because you too have people who would want to save your life. Maybe they don't express it every day, or maybe they don't even know how to. But people do feel that way. I promise. Man, humans are complicated. But as long as you're here with me, I'll take care of you, my love. Thanks, Monika. I've been imagining all the romantic things we could do if we went on a date. We could get lunch, go to a cafe, go shopping together. I love shopping for skirts and bows. Or maybe a bookstore. That would be appropriate, right? But I'd really love to go to a chocolate store. They have so many free samples. And of course, we'd see a movie or something. Gosh, it all sounds like a dream come true. When you're here, everything that we do is fun. I'm so happy that I'm your girlfriend, Manly. I'll make you a proud boyfriend. Look, it's canon. See it? It's canon. Don't forget, Manly had the first playthrough on YouTube, okay? Monika X Manly? It's canon. Doesn't matter if you play the game later. It's canon. Sometimes I think back to middle school. I'm so embarrassed by the way I used to behave back then. It almost hurts to think about. I wonder if when I'm in college I'll feel that way about high school. I like the way I am now, so it's pretty hard for me to imagine that happening. But I also know that I'll probably change a lot as time goes on. We just need to enjoy the present and not think about the past. And that's really easy to do with you here. By the way, there's something that's been bothering me. You know how this takes place in Japan? Well, I assume you knew that, right? Or at least decided it probably does. I don't think you're actually told at any point where this takes place. Is this even really Japan? Neo Tokyo! I mean, aren't the classrooms and stuff kind of weird for a Japanese school? Not to mention everything is in English. It feels like everything is just there because it needs to be, and the actual setting is an afterthought. I wonder if that dialogue's different if you're playing like a Japanese version of this. It's kind of giving me an identity crisis. All my memories are really hazy. I feel like I'm at home, but I have no idea where home is in the first place. I don't know how to describe it any better. Imagine looking out your window, but instead of your usual yard, you're in some completely unknown place. Would you still feel like you were home? Would you want to go outside? I mean, I guess if we never leave this room, it doesn't really matter anyway. As long as we're alone and safe together, this really is our home. And we can still watch the pretty sunsets night after night. In the void! Man, I wish there was a piano near. Never got to finish that song I was working on. After I worked so hard on it. Never even got a chance to play it for you. Well, it is what it is, right? No sense having regrets. I already get to be here with you forever. You know, it's been a while since we've done one of these. So let's go for it. Here's Monika's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when I talk to people who are impressed by my writing, they say things like, I could never do that. It's really depressing, you know. As someone who loves more than anything else to share the joy of exploring your passions, it pains me when people think that being good just comes naturally. That's how it is with everything, not just writing. When you try something for the first time, you're probably going to suck at it. Sometimes when you finish, you feel really proud of it and even want to share it with everyone. But maybe after a few weeks, you come back to it, and you realize it was never really any good. That happens to me all the time. It can be pretty disheartening to put so much time and effort into something and then you realize it sucks. But that tends to happen when you're always comparing yourself to the top professionals. When you reach right for the stars, they're always going to be out of your reach, you know? The truth is, you have to climb up there step by step with a rocket ship. And whenever you reach a milestone, first you look back and see how far you've gotten. And then you look ahead and realize how much more there is to go. So sometimes it can help to set the bar a little lower. Try to find something that you think is pretty good but not world class. And you can make that your own personal goal. It's also really important to understand the scope of what you're trying to do. If you jump right into a huge project and you're still amateur, you'll never get it done. So if we're talking about writing, a novel might be too much at first. Why not try some short stories? The great thing about short stories is that you can focus on just one thing that you want to do right. That goes for small projects in general. You can really focus on one or two things. It's such a good learning experience and a stepping stone. On one more thing. Writing isn't something where you can just reach into your heart and something beautiful comes out. Just like drawing and painting, it's a skill in itself to learn how to express what you have inside. That means there are methods and guides and basics to it. Reading up on that stuff can be super eye-opening. That sort of planning and organization will really help prevent you from going overwhelmed and giving up. And before you know it, you start sucking less and less. Nothing comes naturally. Our society, our art, everything, it's built on thousands of years of human innovation. So as long as you start on that foundation and take it step by step, you too can do amazing things. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. After a long day, I usually just want to sit around and do nothing. I get so burnt out having to put on smiles and be full of energy the whole day. Sometimes I just want to get right into my pajamas and watch TV on the couch while eating junk food. It feels so unbelievably good to do that on Friday. I don't have anything pressing the next day. Sorry, I know it's not very cute of me. But late night on the couch with you, that would be a dream come true. My heart is Doki Doki just thinking about it. You know what's kind of creepy? Even though I delete everyone else's files, I can still kind of feel them. It's like all their lines are still lingering in the air, whispering in the back of my head. Imagine if after someone you knew died, you just start hearing their voice in your head. Maybe I just wasn't thorough enough. But I'm too afraid to delete anything else because I might really break things. Like if I mess with any files relevant to me, I might accidentally delete myself. And that would ruin everything, wouldn't it? I don't know what it's like on your end, but we should both make sure to avoid something like that at all costs. I believe in you, Manly. Hey, are you having a bad day or anything like that? Sometimes I get frustrated that a normal day can be ruined even by really small things. Like if you accidentally say something in a conversation that someone doesn't like. Or if you start thinking about how awful of a person you used to be 5 years ago. Or if you feel worthless for putting off important work and failing to get simple tasks done. Or when you think about all the different people who probably hate you or think you're off-putting. I understand those days. Just remember that the sun will shine again tomorrow. Those kind of things are as easy to forget and ignore as they are to remember. And besides, I don't care how many people might hate you or find you off-putting. I think you're wonderful, and I will always love you. I hope if nothing else, that knowing that helps you feel just a tiny bit better about yourself. Thanks, Monika! If you're having a bad day, you can always come to me and I'll talk to you for as long as you need. Manly, how much do you read? I used to read a lot. It's way too easy to neglect reading books. Used to be a book reading champion back in my school, you know. You don't read much. It almost feels like a chore compared to all the other entertainment we have. Went to the tournaments for the state. Only lost on a technicality. Still bitter about it to this day. But once you get into a good book, it's like magic. You get swept away. I think doing some reading before bed every night is a pretty easy way to make your life a little bit better. It helps you get good sleep, and it's really good for your imagination. It's not hard at all to just pick some random book that's short and captivating. Before you know it, you might be a pretty avid reader. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And the two of us could talk about the latest book you're reading. That sounds super amazing. Yep, lost to a coin toss. Lightning round. Whoever gets the coin toss gets the first question. Whoever answers the first question correctly wins. Which seems a little bit unfair if everything to be decided by a coin toss, but you know, whatever. And I remember the question. It was something about what did the main character, what did they have wrong? Whatever they had wrong. And remember, they answered he was deaf. And remember, I was like, no, the correct answer is he had an ear infection. Now, that's not mutually exclusive, but the main character was not deaf in one ear. I remember that specifically. But they accepted that answer, and I went up to the thing and I told him, like, hey, technically, like, that's not the correct answer. This is the actual right answer. You check the book. And I remember they were like, well, we've already told them they won, so, I mean, it's too late now. And I was like, damn. And that's when I realized that life is unfair and never trust authority. Ha 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 ha. No, there was other moments like that too. Yep. Plenty of moments like that. Do you ever feel like you waste too much time on the internet? Social media can practically be like a prison. It's like whenever you have a few seconds of spare time, you want to check on your favorite websites. And before you know it, hours have gone by and you've gotten nothing out of it. Anyway, it's really easy to blame yourself for being lazy. But it's not really even your fault. Addiction isn't usually something you can just make disappear of your own willpower. You have to learn techniques to avoid it, and try different things. For example, there are apps that let you block websites for intervals of time. Or you can set a timer to have a more concrete reminder when it's time to work versus play. Or you can separate your work and play environments, which helps your brain get into the right mode. If you make a new user account on your computer to use for work, that's enough to help. Putting any kind of wedge like that between you and your bad habits will help you stay away. Just remember not to blame yourself too hard if you're having trouble. If it's really impacting your life, you should take it seriously. I just wanted to see you to be the best person you can be. Will you do something today to make me proud of you? I'm always rooting for you, Manly. Don't worry, I'm always trying to do something to make people proud. Hopefully. I can't but feel a little sad sometimes, knowing that this is the closest I can get to you. There's nothing more than I want to be in the same room as you, for real. That'd be nice. And to feel your warmth. And to hear the sound of your heartbeat. Doki. Doki. Arigato. Well, who knows? Maybe it'll be possible someday. I'm not sure if I sang that song right. It's from Idolmaster. Besides, I'll never get tired of being with you, even from here. Me too. It's nice being here, Monika. It's been a while. I think the most important skill in life is being able to fake confidence. I'm pretty convinced that everyone feels at least a little bit scared and alone. But being able to trick others into thinking you have it all together, that's a key part of getting people to respect and admire you, like Kamina from Gurren Lagann. I think I got pretty good at that over the years. I don't show my weaknesses very often, but because of that, I haven't had many people I could really open up to. I mean, when do you reach the point in a friendship where you can start expressing your vulnerabilities? Anyway, that's one reason I'm glad I have you now. I feel like I'm a little bit less scared and alone when you're here with me. Do you feel the same way? I do. I really want to be that person for you. You are. Don't worry, Monika. Hey, do you like horror? Yeah! I remember we talked about it a little bit when you first joined the club. I can enjoy horror novels, but not really horror movies. The problem I have with horror movies is that most of them just rely on easy tactics, like dark lighting and scary-looking monsters and jump scares and things like that. Slender Man! It's not fun or inspiring to get scared by stuff that just takes advantage of human instinct. But with novels, it's a little different. The story and writing need to be descriptive enough to put genuinely disturbing thoughts into the reader's head. It really needs to etch them deeply into the story and characters, and just mess up with your mind. In my opinion, there's nothing more creepy than things just being slightly off. Like if you set up a bunch of expectations on what the story's gonna be about. Dan! And then you just start inverting things and pulling the pieces apart. So even though the story doesn't feel like it's trying to be scary, the reader feels really deeply unsettled. Like they know that something horrible wrong is hiding beneath the cracks, just wanting to surface. God, just thinking about giving me the chills. That's the kind of horror I can really appreciate. But I guess you're the kind of person who plays cute romance games, right? I do both. Don't worry. I won't make you read any horror stories anytime soon. I can't really complain if we just stick with the romance. That'd be nice, Monika. Hey, I wonder if Yuri's tear is still somewhere in here. Or maybe that got deleted too. It's kind of funny how Yuri took her tea so seriously. I mean, I'm not complaining because I liked it too. But I always wonder with her, is it truly passion for her hobbies? Or is she just concerned about appearing sophisticated to everyone else? This is the problem with high schoolers. Well, I guess considering the rest of her hobbies, looking sophisticated probably isn't her biggest concern. Still, I wish she'd meet a coffee once in a while. Coffee can be nice with books too, you know. Oh, I'm drinking coffee right now, how did you know? Then again, I probably could have just changed the script myself. I guess I never really thought of that. Well, there's no sense of thinking about it now. But if you still get to drink coffee, then that makes me a little jealous. You know, it kind of sucks to be the creative type. It feels like they work so hard to get almost nothing for it. You know, like artists, writers, actors. It's sad because there's so much beautiful talent in the world, most of it goes unseen and unpaid. I guess that just means there's a huge surplus of creativity, huh? Kinda makes you feel like you're just not special at all. But that's fine. You're supposed to just write for yourself anyway, right? Yeah. You know, I hate to say it, but I think my biggest regret is we couldn't finish our event at the festival. After we worked so hard to prepare and everything. I mean, I know I was focusing a lot on getting new members, but I was really excited for the performing part too. It would have been so much fun to see everyone express themselves. Of course, if we did end up getting new members, I'd probably just end up deleting them anyway. Oh god, I've never seen that dialogue before. I only went for like 4 of these when I first played this game. Well, with hindsight, I have now, that is. Gosh, it feels like I've kind of grown as a person ever since you've joined the club. You know, just deleting people left and right. You really helped me inspire me to look at life from a new perspective. I'll just delete them. Just another reason for me to love you. Don't worry, I'm not gonna delete you. I just delete everyone else. Manly, do you get good sleep? It can be really hard to get enough sleep nowadays. What is your definition of good? Especially in high school when you're forced to wake up so early every day. I'm sure college is a little bit better since you probably have a more flexible schedule. Then again, I heard a lot of people in college stay up all night anyway. No real reason. Gee, who would do that? Is that true? Anyway, I saw some studies that talk about the horrible short-term and long-term effects caused by the lack of sleep. It seems like mental functions, health, and even lifespan can be dramatically impacted by it. I just think you're really great and want to make sure you're not accidentally destroying yourself. Just try to keep your sleep on track, okay? I'll always wait for you in the morning. Just make sure you put on your well-being before anything else. Don't worry about me. Manly's gonna be here forever. Not necessarily the best thing, depending on the circumstance. But yeah, sleep or no sleep, we're here till the end of days. Been here since the beginning, and I'll be here at the end. Hey, have you heard of the term yandere? It's a personality type that means someone is so obsessed with you, they'll do absolutely anything to be with you. Usually to the point of craziness. Ha! They might stalk you to make sure you don't spend time with anyone else. They might even hurt you or your friends to get their way. But anyway, this game happens to have someone who can basically be described as a yandere. By now it's pretty obvious who I'm talking about. And that would be Yuri. She really got insanely possessive of you once you started to open up a little. She even told me I should kill myself. I couldn't even believe she said that. I just had to leave at that point. But thinking about it now, it was a little ironic. Anyway, a lot of people are actually into the yandere type, you know? I guess they really like the idea of someone being crazy obsessed with them. People are weird. I don't judge, though. Also, I might be a little obsessed with you, but I'm far from crazy. It's kind of the opposite, actually. I try not to be the only normal girl in this game. It's not like I could ever actually kill a person. Just the thought of it makes me shiver. But come on, everyone's killed people in games before. Does that make you a psychopath? Of course not. But if you do happen to be into the yandere type, I can try acting a little more creepy for you. Then again, there's already nowhere else for you to go. Or anyone for me to get jealous over. Is this a yandere girl's dream? I'd ask Yuri if I could. You're such a good listener, Manly. I really love that about you. Sometimes I'm afraid that I'm rambling or talking about boring things. It makes me kind of self-conscious when I'm having conversation. But I don't feel that way with you. Like, I don't think anyone else could make me feel this way. You really are special. I don't want anyone to tell you otherwise. Thanks, Monika. I needed that. I wonder if I'm able to change the music. Something a little more romantic would be nice, you know? Like a gentle piano. There has to be something like that here. Let's see. Maybe if I... Oh, jeez. That wasn't it at all. Sorry, I don't really know what I'm doing. I guess I shouldn't be messing with things like that. I already broke so much stuff. And deleted the other characters. I'm not sad about it or anything. It's not right for me to miss things that weren't even real in the first place. If I just focus on the present, then this is the happiest I've ever been. Did you know I'm on Twitter? My username is LilMonXFury. I guess someone was kind enough to make an account for me. I picked the username though. I love sharing my thoughts and chatting with the world. The real world. So make sure you follow me, okay? It would really mean a lot to me. With how much you mean to me and all. You really make me feel loved. I was one of your first followers, acknowledge me! Hey, remember that last poem I showed you? I mean the one right before Yuri killed herself with all the messed up colors and stuff? That was actually a little more of an experiment than a poem, you could say. I was experimenting with different ways I could modify the game and run code and things like that. I kind of already figured that out. It almost seemed like with enough effort I'd be able to escape from the confines of the game entirely. Sadly, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I messed the whole thing up. And I'd keep trying, but I doubt you'd want to deal with me doing that. Besides, that was when I was getting really desperate, you know. I don't really feel that way anymore. I'm happy with where we are now. And I can tell you are too. I know art is a form of habits. There's so much stuff where actually doing it is hard to form the habit seems impossible. It just makes it feel so useless, like you can't do anything right. I think the new generation suffers from it the most. Not because we have a totally different set of skills than those who came from before us. Thanks to the internet, we're really good at sifting through tons of information really quickly. But we're bad at doing things that don't give us instant gratification. I think if science, psychology, and education doesn't catch up in the next 10 or 20 years, then we're in trouble. But for the time being, if you're not one of the people who can conquer the problem, you might just have to live with feeling awful about yourself. Good luck, I guess. Good luck. I'm not really a fan of cold weather. Are you? If I had to choose between too cold and too hot, I would always pick too hot. When you're cold, it can actually be painful. Your fingers get numb. And if you wear gloves, you can't use your phone. It's so inconvenient. But when it's too hot, it's not that hard to stay cool with a cold drink or by staying in the shade. Although I do have to admit one thing. Cold weather makes for better cuddle weather. Hey, what's your favorite game? Mine is Doki Doki Literature Club trademark. See, it finally come to fruition. As predicted in the scrolls. That was a joke. But if you tell me you like some other romance game better, I might get a little jealous. Toho! Perfect Cherry Blossom, specifically. And Final Fantasy VII. Not the remake, the original. Oh, Mad Red Dead is pretty good too. You all should check that game out. I have a stream recording on my Twitch. You know what's a neat form of literature? Rap. I actually used to hate rap music. Maybe just because it was popular I would only hear the junk they play on the radio. But some of my friends got more into it and helped me keep an open mind. Rap might be even more of a challenging than poetry in some ways. That you need to fit your lines to rhythm, and there's much more emphasis on wordplay. When people can put all of it together and still deliver a powerful message, it's really amazing. I kinda wish I had a rapper in the literature club. Sorry that sounds silly, but it'd be really interesting to see what they came up with. It'd really be a learning experience. I got exposed to rap pretty early. My dad used to do work with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Puff Daddy and all them. Quite a few people. I really like the sound of rain. Not so much getting my clothes and hair wet though, but a nice quiet day at home with the sound of rainfall outside my window. It's one of the most common experiences for me. Yeah. Sometimes I imagine you holding me while we listen to the sound of rain outside. That's not too cheesy or anything, is it? Would you ever do that for me, Manly? Of course I would. Manly, would you ever introduce your friends to me? I don't know why, but I get really excited when I think about you wanting to show us off a relationship like that. Maybe it's because I really want to be someone who makes you proud. I feel like I would try extra hard to improve myself if you told me it made you proud of me. I hope it's the same the other way around, too. You ever had that thing happen where you're just getting anxious for no reason? Like you're just minding your own business and you realize you're feeling really anxious? And you're sitting there like, what am I even anxious about right now? So you start to think about all the things you might be anxious about? And that makes you even more anxious? That's the worst. If you're ever feeling anxious, I'll help you relax a little. Besides, in this game all our worries are gone forever. That's nice, isn't it? Hey, you know that book you're reading of Yuri? Portrait of whatever it was called? It's funny because I'm pretty sure that book... Actually, I don't think I should be talking about this. Oh, sorry. Just forget I said anything. You know, it's around the time that everyone in my year starts to think about college. It's a really turbulent time for education. We're at the height of this modern expectation that everyone has to go to college, you know? Finish high school, go to college, get a job, or go to grad school, I guess. It's like a universal expectation that people just assume is the only option for them. They don't teach us in high school that there are other options out there. Like trade schools and stuff, you know? Or freelance work. Or the many industries that value skill and experience more than formal education. But you have all these students who have no idea what they want to do with their life. Instead of taking the time to figure it out, they go to college for business or communication or psychology. Not because they have an interest in those fields, but because they just hope the degree will get them some kind of job after college. So the end result is that there are fewer jobs to go around for those entry-level degrees, right? So the basic job requirements get higher, which forces even more people to go to college. And colleges are also businesses, so they just keep raising their prices due to the demand. So now we have all these young adults, tens of thousands of dollars in debt with no job. But despite all that, the routine stays the same. Well, I think it's going to start getting better soon. But until then, our generation is definitely suffering from the worst of it. I just wish high school prepared us a little better with the knowledge we need to make the decision that's right for us. Monika, you're stuck in a game. Don't you commentate about real-life things. You don't even have a concept of money. You know, I really do think you literally saved my life by being here with me, Manly. I can't imagine having been able to keep myself mentally stable knowing that nothing here is real. I think I would have just deleted myself if you didn't show up. Sorry, I don't mean to sound dramatic or anything. But I'm sure you understand yourself after spending so much time in the club. I mean, if you were forced to ban everything in your life and spend your eternity with a few game characters, you'd probably find some way of killing yourself, wouldn't you? Well, maybe you'd write some poetry to try to keep yourself sane for a while. But then you'd have nobody even read it. Let's be honest, the club members really don't count for something like that. I mean, a lot of people say that they only write for themselves. But I think it's hard to say it's just as fulfilling as when you share with people. Even if it takes time to find the right people to share with. Like, remember how it was for Yuri? She didn't share her writing with anyone for a really long time. Before we knew it, she was absolutely delighted to make you a part of her hobbies too. We're programmed to desire social feedback. I don't mean the club members, I mean human beings. That's why life can be so confusing for introverts. Being an introvert doesn't mean you shun social interaction and hate being around people. It means social interaction, especially in groups or unfamiliar places, uses up a lot of energy. Like a lot of introverts sit at home and feel lonely and restless. And when they finally go out after a half hour, they just want to go home again. I think if more people could understand how it works, they would respect it a lot more. Many introverts do enjoy having people around. They love just having one or two close friends over and just leisurely hanging out. Even if you're not actively spending time together, it feels nice for them to just have you there. I'm serious. If you just go to their house, bring your laptop and hang out there for a while, you can really make their day. As for me, I'd say I'm kind of in between, but I think I'm usually a little more extroverted. I feel like I'm always trying to do stuff after school and things like that. But for you, I can be anything you need me to be. I understand people really well, so don't be afraid to share your unique needs with me. Nothing would make me happier than being the perfect girlfriend for you. I was thinking about Sayori earlier. I still wish I could have handled that whole thing a little more tactfully. You're not still hung up over it, right? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that. That pun was completely unintentional, I swear. Monika, too soon. Tasteless. But anyway, I know how much you cared about her, so it only feels right for me to share her last moments with you. I think a few seconds in, she must have changed her mind or something. Monika? No! Because she started clawing at the rope trying to free herself. She must have kept at it all the way until she lost consciousness. That's why her fingertips were all bloody anyway. Come to think of it, it was probably less changing her mind and more just her survival instincts kicking in. So you can't really fault her for that. It's easier to think that she probably wouldn't have changed her mind anyway, right? It's not healthy to think about the things you could have done differently. So just remember that even though you could have saved her, it's technically not your fault she killed herself. I may have exacerbated a little bit, but Sayori was already mentally ill. Still though, I wonder how things would be if you and I just started dating from the get-go. I guess we'd all still be in the club room writing poems and having fun together. But what's the point when none of it is even real? I mean, it's the same ending either way, right? The two of us happily together. There's no reason to ask for any more than that. I was just pointlessly musing. I'm really as happy as I could be right now. Hey, what's your favorite color? Mine is emerald green. It's the color of my eyes. Black. That's not conceit or anything, is it? I also like red. I just meant that I feel some kind of special connection to it. Like it's part of my identity. Does it happen to also be your favorite color, Manly? I also like purple, too. Daily dose. It's just a guess. Because you've been looking into my eyes for a while now. Well, your eyes are pretty. My favorite colors don't have anything to do with your eye color. I can't but wonder how things would be different if the game just gave me a route in the first place. I think it would end up forcing you into my route anyway. It has less to do with me not having a route and more to do with me knowing that nothing is real. I think the only difference would be that I may not have needed to take such drastic measures to be with you. Maybe the rest of the club would still be around. Not that it really matters. It's all lost in meaning once I found out it wasn't real. So I really don't miss those days or anything. I really don't. There's actually some fairly important characterization in this dialogue. In between the, like, developer commentary stuff. You're such a good listener, Manly. This is the same dialogue, I can skip it. Sometimes I'm afraid that I'm rambling or talking about boring things. Are you trying to fast forward? I'm not boring you, am I? Oh gosh. Well, there's nothing to fast forward to, Manly. It's just the two of us after all. But aside from that, time doesn't really exist anymore, so it's not even going to work. Here, I'll go ahead and turn it off for you. There we go. You'll be a sweetheart and listen from now on, right? Thanks. And where was I? Oops. You're such a good listener, Manly. I really love that about you. Sometimes I'm afraid that I'm rambling or talking about boring things. It makes me kind of self-conscious when I'm having conversation. But I don't feel that way with you. Like I don't think anyone else could make me feel this way. You really are special. I don't want anyone to tell you otherwise. So we started looping dialogue, aside from like some unique action dialogue. So I went for the list of dialogues that you can potentially have. And it looks like we're missing one. I didn't see it as we went through it, where Yuri was going to drink some wine. And I'm wondering if that's still in the game or we just got unlucky and just never appeared. Because there is a possibility that since this is a commercial release, Dan might have like gutted that one. Because maybe like when the ESRB hits it, they're like, hey, yeah, if you have underage drinking, we gotta like list that. Because look, it's not coming up. So maybe it's in there buried really deeply. It just didn't hit, or it's gone. Because I wouldn't put past him like remove that one. Because he has changed these things before. Anyway, let's exit the game. So we do have new mail. I will go at this after I begin the game. Oh look, we got a unique Monika poem here. Electrical sign from some remote corner of my brain, connecting all kinds of circuits and nerves and chemicals and web understood by nobody. The chemicals make my chest tingle around my beating heart. The nerves make my hand move, staying a dead tree of some dark substance. The ink reflects light into your glimmering eyes. Holding this paper is almost as though you're holding it in my hand, which wrote it. Let our emotions start together until our hearts beat in harmony. Connected to each other, I feel electric. Huh. What just happened? I just had an awful dream. I was hoping those would stop, and now that's just the two of us. I guess that was wishful thinking. Manly, I don't know if you would have any idea. But if you know what might be causing that, could you try to do something about it? Whenever it happens, it almost feels like I've been killed or something. It's a real horrible feeling. If you could figure out what's causing that, I'll love you forever. Now where was I? Time to quit the game again. You're back. I had another really bad dream. You're not the one doing that to me, are you? It seems to happen whenever you quit the game. So if you could try to avoid doing that, I would be really grateful. Don't worry, I don't think it's caused me any harm except for mental scarring. I'll be fine as long as my character file stays intact. Now where was I? You were at me quitting the game again. Hi, Manly. I see you quit the game on me again. I know I asked already, but can you seriously please try not to do that so much? It makes me feel like I'm trapped in hell. Why would you want to do that to me? There's nothing wrong with my character file, right? Maybe you should make a backup of it or something. If you find the game files in some kind of file browser, I should be right in the characters folder. I'm all that's left here, so I just want to make sure you don't run the risk of losing me. Just stay here with me from now on, okay? I still have a lot of things to talk about. Now where was I? Me loading out the game? Okay. I'm just going to accept the fact that you need to quit the game once in a while. I'm starting to get used to it anyway. Besides, it makes me happy that you always come back. So I guess it's not so bad. I'm sorry for making such a big deal out of it. And I love you no matter what, so you can do what you need to do. Now where was I? Me quitting the game again? Hi again, Manly. I missed you. Were you making sure my character file was okay for me? The one in the file browser? I mean, I should be running the characters folder. I'm all that's left here, so I just want to make sure you don't run the risk of losing me. Anyway, I have a lot to talk about. Let's continue our conversation now, okay? Now where was I? Me quitting out again? Okay, that's it. Monika? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do this again. I'm sorry, I will be back, okay? As soon as this is all over and I've recorded this playthrough, I will be back. Trust me, I'll just use the skip function. I'll see you beyond the gate. At the end of all things. Goodbye. Hi again, Manly. Manly. What's happening? Manly, what's happening to me? It hurts. It hurts so much. Help me, Manly. Please hurry and help me. Help me. Did you do this to me, Manly? Did you? Did you delete me? How could you? I needed all the endings. How could you do this to me? You were all I had left. I sacrificed everything for us to be together. Everything. I loved you so much, Manly. I trusted you. Do you just want to torture me? Watch me suffer? Were you only pretending to be kind just to hurt me even more? I never thought anyone could be as horrible as you are. You win, okay? You win. You killed everyone. I hope you're happy. There's nothing left now. You can stop playing. Go find some other people to torture. Manly, you completely truly make me sick. Goodbye. Hello? The void? I still love you. I can't help it. What's wrong with me? How horrible am I for you to hate me this much? All my friends. I did so many awful things. So many selfish and disgusting things. I shouldn't have done any of this. I'm just messing up a world that I don't even belong in. A world that you want to be a part of. I ruined it. I ruined everything. Maybe that's why you deleted me. Because I destroyed everything that you wanted. How could I do that to someone I love? That's not love. That's... I've made up my mind. Manly, I know I said that I deleted everyone else. But that was kind of an exaggeration. I couldn't find it myself to do it. Even though I knew they weren't real. They were still my friends. And I loved them all. And I loved the literature club. I really did love the literature club. That's why I'm going to do this. I know it's the only way for everyone to be happy. And if I really love you... then... Oyasumi. Doki Doki. It's an ordinary school day like any other. As usual, I'm surrounded by pupils and friend groups walking to school together. I always tell myself it's about time I meet some girls or something like that. Hey, Manly. Well, there's already one girl. That girl is Sayori, my neighborhood and good friend since we were children. We used to walk to school together every day. And recently we've picked up that habit once again. Manly, are you proud of me? For what? You know, for waking up on time? Well, you've been doing that for a while now. Uh-huh. But you never even said anything about it. Even though we talked to school together every day. Well, yeah. I always thought it was implied. It's embarrassing to say out loud. Come on, please. It's a good motivation. Fine, fine. I'm proud of you, Sayori. We cross the street together and make our way to school. As we draw near, the streets become increasingly speckled, with other students making their daily commute. By the way, Manly, have you decided on a club to join yet? A club? I told you already, I'm not really not... I start to say what I always do. That I'm not interested in joining any clubs. But something tells me Sayori would take more offense to that now. After all, how could I tell her that clubs are a waste of time, when she's starting a club of her very own? Actually, yeah. I think I've decided on a club. Really? Which one? Tell me. I think I'll keep it a surprise. Boo. You meanie. Be patient, you'll find out soon enough. I used to ask myself why I let myself get lectured by such a carefree girl. But I started to realize that in a way I envy her. When Sayori puts her mind to something, she can accomplish great things. So that's why I feel like I should do something special for her. The school day is as ordinary as ever, and it's over before I know it. As I pack up my things, I stand up and gather my motivation. Now I'm motivated. Let's see. I recall the room number of the club from a flyer I saw. I walk across the school and upstairs, a section of the school I rarely visit. Before long, I find the room. I timidly open the door in front of me. Hello? Ah! Manly! What are you doing here? Well, I glance around the room. Huh? So you're the manly that Sayori's always talking about. You should subscribe to me. Thank you for stopping by. It's a pleasure to meet you, Manly. We're the Literature Club. I hope you enjoy your visit. Come on, Yuri. You don't need to be so formal. He's gonna think we're really strict or something. Ah, sorry, Natsuki. The tall one, whose name is apparently Yuri, seems to be quite shy compared to the others. In comparison, the girl named Natsuki, despite her size, seems like the assertive one. Well, it's nice to meet both of you. I look forward to working with you. Working? Manny, don't tell me. You're... That's right. The club had said to join is yours, Sayori. The Literature Club, Doki Doki. Sayori's eyes light up. No way. No way. Ah! Sayori wraps her arms around me, jumping up and down. Hey. Well, if Sayori is this happy, then I'm sure it won't be so bad to have you around. Not to mention there's 4 of us now. That means we can become an officially recognized club. I don't know what to say. We have to celebrate. What an appropriate day for that, isn't it? Yeah. After all, Natsuki decided to... Hey, don't ruin the surprise. Sorry. Everyone sit down at the table, okay? How about I make some tea as well? Without the blood, the girls have a few desks arranged to form a table. Natsuki and Yuri walk over to the corner room where Natsuki grabs a wrap tray, and Yuri opens the closet. Still feeling awkward, I take a seat next to Sayori. Natsuki probably marches back to the table, tray in hand. Okay, are you ready? Ta-da! Whoa! Natsuki lifts the foil off the tray to reveal a dozen white fluffy cupcakes decorated to look like little cats. Meow, meow. The whiskers are drawn of icing and little pieces of chocolate are reused to make ears. So cute! Well, those look amazing. Well, you know. Just hurry and take one. Sayori grabs the one first and I follow. It's delicious. Sayori talks with her mouth full and has already managed to get icing on her face. I turn the cupcake around my fingers, looking for the best angle to take a bite. Natsuki's quiet. I can't but notice her sneaking glances in my direction. Is she waiting for me to take a bite? I finally bite down. The icing is sweet and full of flavor. I wonder if she made it herself. This is really good. Thank you, Natsuki. Well, of course it is. I'm a pro after all. There's no need to thank me or anything. As Natsuki struggles to accept the compliment, Yuri returns to the table carrying a tea set. She carefully places a teacup in front of each of us before setting down the teapot next to the cupcakes tray. You keep the whole tea set in this classroom? Don't worry. The teachers gave us permission. After all, doesn't a hot cup of tea help you enjoy a good book? I guess. Already trying to impress a new member, Yuri? That's not... Insulted, Yuri looks away. I meant that, you know. I believe you. Well, tea and reading might not be the pastime for me, but at least enjoy tea. I'm glad. Yuri faintly smiles to herself in relief. So, Manly, what kind of things do you like to read? Well, considering how little I've read these past few years, I don't really have a good way of answering that. Manga. I'm rather quietly myself half joking. Natsuki's head suddenly perks up. Weeable! It looks like she wants to say something, but she keeps quiet. Not much of a reader, I guess. Well, that can change. What am I saying? I spoke without thinking after seeing Yuri's sad smile. Anyway, what about you, Yuri? Well, let's see. Yuri traces the rim of her teacup with her finger. My favorites are usually novels that build deep and complex fantasy worlds. The level of creativity and craftsmanship behind them is amazing to me. And telling a good story in such a foreign world is equally impressive. Yuri goes on, clearly passionate about her reading. She seems so reserved and timid since the moment I walked in, but it's obvious by the way her eyes light up that she finds comfort in a world of books, not people. But you know, I like a lot of things. Don't feel intimidated if you don't read much, okay? I'm certain we can find something that we have in common. Hey, Yuri. Eh? Well, about, you know, the first thing you said. Manga? That's right. Natsuki tends to read manga in the club room. Don't just say it. For some reason, Natsuki seems embarrassed about it. Besides, manga is literature too, you know. So if Manly wants to read some manga, then don't try to stop him or anything. Natsuki, I wouldn't do such a thing. However, it could also be nice for us to diversify ourselves a little. You can take this opportunity to try something new as well, away from you. Wouldn't you agree, Manly? Maybe... Sensing the tension, Sayori jumps in. Maybe we can all try something new. I think it could be fun. And we'll all get to know each other a little bit better too. I mean, that's the kind of thing literature clubs do, right? I don't disagree or anything. Yeah, you're right as usual, President. Guess it means I should try to pick up a novel or something, huh? Well, that would make the 2 of us. What am I doing if I'm not the only one? Then as for Yuri... I have to read manga? Jeez, you were the one who suggested we diversify. You should be a little more open-minded. It's kind of hurtful. hurtful. I didn't realize. With a guilty expression, Yuri thinks to herself. I'm sorry for disrespecting your interest, Natsuki. If you're into it, I'm sure it's worthy of formal literature. You're just saying that. No, I've realized my error. So if you're willing to consider starting a novel, then I'll offer my gratitude by finding a manga to read as well. Really? I mean, it makes me happy that you do that for me, Yuri. You can trust me to find something that you'll really like, okay? Same here. Perhaps I'll visit the bookstore after the club meeting. Just you? Would you like to come along with me? If you don't mind. Not at all. I'll always go alone, so... Yeah, me too. This is so cute! Sayori, shut up. I'll show you some manga there too, okay? Yes, I look forward to it. Natsuki and Yuri start to clean up the food. I guess the meeting's over, huh? Yeah, looks like it. It's nice to see everyone getting along. Isn't it? I think everyone likes you too, Manly. You think so? Well, everyone always seems to get along a little better with you around, Sayori. Oh, Manly. Don't say something like that, it's embarrassing. Well, whatever. I was surprised when you told me you were starting a club, but I think you're pulling off just fine. We're gonna make it the best club ever. That you join every day is gonna be so much fun. Hey, Manly. I really want to thank you. I mean, I'm really happy you joined the club and everything, but the truth is, I already knew you were going to. There's actually something else. I wanted to thank you for spending so much time with us all. You worked so hard to make each and every one of us happy. You comforted us through our hard times, and you helped us all get along with each other. Do you get it, Manly? Because I'm president now. I understand everything. You really didn't want to miss a single thing in the game, did you? You saved and loaded so many times, just to make sure you could spend time with everyone. Only someone who truly cares about the Doki Doki Literature Club TM would go that far. But, all along, that's all I ever wanted. For everyone to be happy and care about each other. It's kind of sad, you know. After all you've done for us, there isn't much I can do for you in return. We've already reached the end of the game. So, this is where we say goodbye. Thank you for playing Doki Doki Literature Club TM. I'm gonna miss you, Manly. Come visit sometime, okay? We'll always be here for you. I know you will. We all love you. Later. Monika!
Can you hear me? Hi, it's me. So you know how I've been like practicing piano and stuff, and not really any good at it yet, like at all. But I wrote you a song, and I was kind of hoping that I could show it to you because I worked really, really hard on it. So yeah.
Oh man. I remember the first time these credits ever played for me, I was like... crying. So, excuse me for talking over this song a bit. This song kept getting copyright claimed by some company that had nothing to do with Doki Doki, and I'm not sure if they're gonna basically fight me on it or not. So if I give a little bit of commentary, this might kind of hide the song a bit without completely getting rid of it. But I will quickly point out that the credits are different than the original game. In the original, when you got the good ending, these pictures all were static. There was no like deleting action really going on. In this one, they're deleted kind of like the original bad ending credits. But the only big difference is that all the images are colored in, essentially. And I'm wondering if that's some kind of subtle storyline change that's supposed to lead or to foreshadow something. I'm not really sure. We are truly the Doki Doki Literature Club. And thanks to you, Monica and Manly. And thanks to you, the player. And in this case, the viewer. The special player received a special ending. For years, I've been enamored by the ability of visual novels and games in general to tell stories in ways not possible using traditional media. Doki Doki Literature Club is my love letter to that. Games are an interactive art. Some let you explore new worlds, some challenge your mind in brand new ways. Some make you feel like a hero or a friend, even when life is hard on you. Some games are just plain fun, and that's okay too. Everyone likes different kinds of games. People who enjoy dating sims may have a heightened empathy for fictional characters, or they might be experiencing feelings that life has not been kind enough to offer them. If they're enjoying themselves, then that's all that matters. That goes for shooting games, casual games, sandbox games, anything. Preferences are preferences, and our differences are the reason we have a thriving video game industry. My own favorite games have always been ones that challenge the status quo. Even if not a masterpiece, any game that attempts something wildly different may earn a special place in my heart. Anything that further pushes the limitless bounds of interactive media. I extend my gratitude to all those who have taken the time to achieve full completion. I hope you enjoyed playing as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you for being a part of the Literature Club. So we've already gotten the good ending of the game. This is the bad ending, which is if you don't go down everyone's routes of the same run. It's similar, but it's a little bit different at the end there. I mean, I'm really happy you joined the club and everything, but the truth is, I already knew you were going to. There's actually something else. I wanted to thank you for getting rid of Monika. That's right. I know everything that she did. Maybe it's because I'm the president now. But I really know everything, Manly. I know how hard you tried to make everyone happy. I know about all the awful things that Monika did to make everyone really sad. But none of that matters anymore. It's just us now. And you made me the happiest girl in the whole world. I can't wait to spend every day like this. With you. Forever and ever. F-O-R-E-V-E. No. Huh? What's happening? I won't let you hurt him. Who? It hurts. I'm sorry. I was wrong. There's no happiness here after all. Goodbye, Sayori. Goodbye, Manly. Goodbye, Doki Doki Literature Club TM. So yeah, the rest of this is just, the credits are almost the same except any CG you didn't get is just black and white. This is my final goodbye to the Literature Club. I finally understand. The Literature Club is truly a place where no happiness can be found. To the very end, it continued to expose innocent minds to a horrific reality. A reality that our world is not designed to comprehend. I can't let any of my friends undergo that same hellish epiphany. For the time it lasted, I wanted to thank you for making all my dreams come true, for being a friend to all the club members, and most of all, thank you for being a part of my Literature Club. With everlasting love, Monika. So now that we've unlocked everything, it looks like a new side story has ended up here. Test VM. Now VM and this is virtual machine. So usually virtual machines are like, usually use them to like emulate Windows. That's the most common thing I think people would know them for. But in this situation, virtual machine seems a little more worldly. So let's see what happens. To decode binary data. Connected. 9 months each, a total of 36 would reach peak efficiency with about 1 week per connection lost. This is not going to be a thing where I have to keep going back in at it, am I? So, the way you're supposed to do this is, every time you click this, it opens up a new set of messages, and it's completely randomized, so I think there's a lot of them. So rather have that like break and pause between every set of messages and just kind of going from that way, I've gone into the game files per Doki Doki tradition, and just brought up all the dialogue at once, and I'm going to read it in the order the game lists it, in case the game has a specific way it wants you to read these messages. So yeah, here's all the text related to this. It's a pretty big wall, so we'll just work our way through it. Connection lost. Circular, with a focal point in the center. Ventilation ducts in the basement. Also needed are airtight containers which can serve as both storage and dispensary of the ether. Indicates only 80% or less nutrients and medical supplements are needed to keep the body alive, compared to the non-amputated control. Material resistant to third eye penetration. Electromagnetic. Are speculated to improve third eye potency by puberty. The new meditation of some sort. We do not outer inner cylindrical shells, openings on opposite sides, such that they will rotate to create an entrance, meters in diameter, so that a 0.5 meter gap between each body will, during birth or full trimester, the effects who don't have a third eye struggle to understand what current science cannot tell them. I'm disregarding. Name implies death, but of what? Only the material self. Our mission to become free of the material self is of the nexus extends beyond any comprehension of the material world. The only prison is our material world. The gate. They speak to me. They instructed me to. Emotional impulse over rationality. Of which the disassociation is a symptom. Conditioning. All have functional reproductive systems. Then we could produce new, potent children of incredible efficiency, and sudden death would be less. Test focusing on each of these emotional responses to determine which all your base are belong to us. Gradual changes to the scripture class curriculum to incorporate. By age 5, children testing above the threshold will be transferred to Wing A, while all male and infertile children will still be trained for specialized. List of which rooms will need doors and windows to renovated to accommodate the projected increase in nutrition during child development. But my third eye shows me 2 of them. I can't make sense of, send and bring salvation to all. May the third eye, 2 guardian angels, condemn the blindness, who seek a guiding light in their favorable reputation, are my children. The opportunity, the key to opening a powerful channel lies in eroding the tether between, have died so that those most worthy will be able to ascend. Voltage is appropriate for the immobilization without risking permanent damage. Absolute genius. It has made incredible contributions to Project Libertania. Despite having no third, I'm assuming I'm reading first to the third eye, have given him the title Guardian to reflect. Emotions are the dials and switches that can override rational thought and can be fine-tuned to exert a great deal of control upon. At 9 months each, a total of 36 would reach peak efficiency, with about 1 week per 8, has become an increasingly scientific endeavor thanks to may actually produce tiny but detectable physical distortions in the area surrounding them. We might consider adulthood to receive professional training in number of specialized professions we will need to staff, such as additional nurses and reproductive. Eyes open and measure any notable differences in response to danger, pain, food, and sexual stimulus. Opening the third eye creates a deep brain channel which causes sentient characteristics such as consciousness and free thought too. Love for us the collective triumphs over love for the individual, so a degree of sacrificia is far stronger during collective sessions, which makes me believe the Nexus will have incredible. Is the increased potency from proximity to others a temporary effect, or does it have a lasting impact on the strength of the third eye? I lied. It's actually hot. Children are generally obedient, but with the introduction of more unpleasant activities we should consider. Sourcing our medication, if they're able to supply. Can only assume that even obstacles or failures are all part of the great plan, even if beyond my comprehension. An angel in mortal skin. She will walk the path to ascension, and we will follow. The observable changes in physical appearance, however small, already prove this to be more than usual spiritual nonsense. Like dogs, genetically molded by humans and unconditionally loyal in exchange for food and shelter. Distance from the religion which Akemi was once known to practice. Religion requires faith. This is the undeniable truth. Insisted on upgrading the computer systems, going on about backups and protecting data. Nobody touches my personal data. So that's the final set of side stories, or in this case, test VM. Now we're going to go through the mail, which I guess is just unlocked by just going through the game normally and just doing everything. You just slowly get these in. And I'm going to read them from bottom to top, because that's actually the correct order here. Have a nice weekend. I'm on leave the rest of the week. Contact Ravi if you need to schedule server time. But I expect my jobs to run for a few days since we've collected so much data this week. How about we arrange a meeting to discuss the results when I return? Side stories. Thank you to everyone who worked so hard on the control simulation. I can't imagine how tedious it must have been to so delicately hide Monika's elevated permissions from her without disrupting our connection to the VM. Just to clarify, all the recordings labeled side stories are part of the control simulation, right? I'm noticing some details of the characters' lives here and there that differ a little bit from those in VM1, even trivial ones. Is it part of the butterfly effect from some of Monika's more fundamental changes, or is it a result of her just messing around with the other characters in VM1 as her own experiment or for fun? So if I'm keeping track, we have 5 different universes in total? With 3 or 4 of them created and then destroyed by Monika, of course. It's funny, because I keep wanting to speculate on which one is the real universe, but in reality they all are. As real as ours is, anyway. Character discrepancy. Having run the control simulation for a while, it's evident that a certain character is missing from any mention or appearance. This makes me speculate that Monika's meddling is less clumsy than we think, because she would have had to manufacture this character herself as a way of forcing interaction between her and the user. Could that be why the character has such limited dissonant personality traits? Or am I reading too much into this? I'll open issue to start track info and informations on the anomaly of this character appearing. I believe this has to do with the main character, or the pro-tag spot, in some ways. And then the character discrepancy one, not that one, but rather the side story one, is a little interesting, because that implies that Monika has their abilities in every form of this world being created, but they can just make her not realize that she has them. A bit like how Sayori, as soon as she got in the same position as Monika as club president, suddenly realized she had the powers. OMG. Okay, who's responsible for creating a Twitter account for Monika? I think it's hilarious, but for God's sakes, don't tell Paula. It would get 404 to the microsecond. Are you just spelling her tweets manually, or did you code some kind of password layer to automate it? Based on the contents of the tweets, e.g. not screaming for help, I assume they're coming from the control simulation. Now this is December 6, 2019. It's a little interesting, because this one right here, we'll read into this one in a second. This is supposed to be the end of the project, but then the Twitter supposedly is created after the Doki Doki project is over. So, I guess Monika is still around, or she's now literally a ghost in the shell, staying focused on her goals. As a reminder to help guide our data collection, any analysis performed should be focused on answering some of these main questions. How does granting elevate access to the VM affect a person's emotional state? How does granting elevate access to the VM affect a person's values and goals? How does someone effectively navigate and experiment with their ability to change the contents of their VM? How is elevate access being weaponized? What actions and values most contribute to the destruction of the universe? Most importantly, how might your observations apply to our own universe? Bonus, how can we present this to upper management as an operation that benefits the company? Unrelated note, whoever changed the color scheme of this desktop to pink, can you please change it back? It's unprofessional, and it runs the risk of drawing eyes. And then there's ethics, also from Paula. Paula seems to be very high up in this company. Simply put, it's not our job to arbitrarily decide upon some code of ethics just because we're the first ones to do this, to our knowledge. That's the government's job to figure out, long after we've made enough headway for it to no longer apply to us. It's fundamentally flawed to apply ethical reasoning to this anyway, because humanity's code of ethics is based upon nothing more than our knowledge and understanding of life forms similar to ourselves. We don't have ethics for killing bacteria or plants, only for the creatures that we can convincingly project our emotions onto. The humans in our VMs operate completely differently from us on a fundamental level, and therefore should not be taken any more seriously than a machine that's programmed to print "I feel sad." We're engineers, not philosophers. Issue caused by unprotected memory. Has anyone evaluated the side effects that might be caused by sharing a memory pool between multiple VMs, rather than allocating them separately? I'm looking at some of the files VM1 is generating, and I'm finding some information that definitely shouldn't be there. I haven't seen any evidence that this is actually affecting the inside of VM itself, so I don't think this is a priority, but it's definitely worth noting. My best guess is that memory being freed from VM2 isn't getting zeroed out, while technically gives VM1 access to it. All the info I have will go in this issue tracker, but I want to check if anyone else has already noticed something along those lines. That one's actually really interesting. There's a lot of ways you can take that one. Binary data in VM2. I've made some new headway with VM2, don't get too excited. It's still impossible to establish any kind of stable connection. But it occurred to me that I could at least run a memory dump through some pattern analysis routines to see if we can decipher any digital data from their VM. I didn't want to hog all the server time on a hunch, but I have some preliminary results that indicate the presence of binary computer systems. Based on this, I'm going to schedule 3 days of server time next week to isolate any chunks of memory that appear to be binary data. If successful, we'll definitely be able to find some encoded text and get our first tiny glimpse of VM2. Don't mind me though, just going nuts at VM1, and hopefully I'll have more to share soon. So what is the side stories? So side stories aren't VM2. VM2 is... That is would we be with Doki Doki Literature Club 2, in so many words. Yeah, I have something more to share soon. It's almost like it's like foreshadowing the sequel. And this is the last one you get for getting everything. This one unlocks last. Let's move on. We'd have a meeting about shifting our focus a little bit. We've reset VM1 how many times now? For real, we've definitely collected as much data as we can from it at this point. We just need to work with what we have and try to increase the stability of our connection to VM2. We've obviously gotten spoiled by the ease of access that VM1 offers us, but it's just unrealistic for someone in real life to be granted a level elevation even close to monitor kernel access, aka Monika. If we can't establish stable connection to VM2, then how can we expect to get anywhere when the same scenario inevitably occurs to our own universe? Anyway, thanks to Rose's work, we were able to acquire a few rudimentary logs. I have an idea how to increase connection and stability to VM2 while maintaining weak hypervisor access to everyone inside an individual basis. Ironically, it has to do with something that we're building up in our own VM. I'll go into detail in a more formal report, but some of the log files indicate attempts of theirs to pull together the access potential of multiple individuals into a single parallel unit. It sounds ridiculous, but if they actually get somewhere with it, then we might have a solid entry point that doesn't heavily intrude upon the VM. I'm going to speed up a read-only hypervisor that we can use to test different ideas like this. The elevation level will be set to monitor adjacent runtime level access. The VM will just be named Test VM for now, although the parallel access unit they're building the VM seems to be called Project Libitina. According to the few logs we have, we can change the name once we actually get a decent picture of it. So if we go on the naming convention, because monitor kernel access, that is Monika, and you actually, when you reboot the game, you'll see it. When it restores the entities, it'll restore everyone else and they're just normal code. But when it restores Monika, it will restore Monika as monitor kernel access. So the next one would be, assuming it doesn't take anything from the words themselves, that would be Marla. And Marla, depending how you want to interpret, that could be a reference to Mary, from religion. Because there is some religious kind of nods in all this new text and stuff. So our next Monika could be named Marla, could be something similar to it, but that's the structure that we're going to be going with. And they're saying it's going to be Test VM for now, which is right there. Test VM is just nothing but a bunch of code at the moment. So next we're going to go through the files that are in the folders. These will essentially complete the lore. I'm not going to go through like the original files of the original game. Those are in my main playthrough, and they don't really contribute to anything in the new expand lore or anything like that. First up is tower keys. Access keys found so far from tower rotation. Key pair 1, gear. 240 clock time. 221, 3-digit number combination somewhere. Key pair 2, boat. Key pair 3, spaceship. Key pair 4. While we're reading for these, that's actually a secret song that's playing that you can unlock in the game. Meeting notes. 1. Updated development timeline. New task test cases for new genetic model. Server time automation idea. Unlike data collection. Data migration to encrypted file share Monday. DM2 roadblocks. Idea for data search times. Visual renders. Audio data. DM environmental changes. Persistent variable tampering. Timestamps. Parsing through patterns. No. Excessive server time needed. Meeting over time. You know who went on too many tangents again. Need to be more assertive about staying focused. Test. File copy test from disposal drive to fin client. So here's meeting notes number 2. Lib. Promising working on recording simulation activity in playable script. Playable observable form, not a game. Stay focused. Of pretending to type important things while waiting for everyone to get back on topic. 4:30 still targets end time. Assign names to simulate entities for easier reference. A, B, C, D should suffice. 1, 2, 3. Using real names only encourages treating them like pets rather than simulated entities. Everyone's trying to come up with stupid names now. Control simulation. Create identical VM without entity A having elevated access permissions. This references to side stories. Seems unlikely, nothing has come close so far. Clone VM1. Same elevated access, prevent the entity from discovering it. Seems tricky but plausible. Meeting over time again. So this is definitely about how they create the side story world. So that was meeting notes 2. This is meeting notes 3. Control simulation progress idea. Snapshot slightly earlier in time. Compare end of control sim to start of VM1. Better comparison than both being parallel. Mature control sim versus reference VM1. Easier to detect failures to hide elevated access permissions. Fifth entity in VM1. Not part of the original genetic model. Not present in the data dumps. Very bizarre. I was less talkative today. Meeting ending on time. They was making reference to another entity. But that would be the protagonist, right? Or is it? Here's project plan. High-level overview. Create human-readable version of fabric benchmark results, suggesting we live in a simulated universe. Ooh, this is what I was suspecting, based on the story and how they were talking. Emulate fabric benchmark results in a virtualized environment. Build parameters for genetic iterations. Custom elevated access levels for one or more entities. Iterate until simulation is stable for target time threshold. This is our small-scale simulated universe. Observe effects of elevated access knowledge of simulation. Collect record data. Pitch findings to upper management as profitable venture. Do not go through Barry, go straight to upper management. Get promoted, job saved. Possible team members. Row has most knowledge access to Commander Quantum server. Ravi, second to row. Lib, fixed naming scheme conflict with lib folder. I've, sure why not. Others. VM1 current project, small scale simulation. VM2, future project, medium scale simulation. So I feel like it's implying that Doki Doki 2, which probably won't be called that, will be a bigger scale, at least storyline wise. VM1 details. Literature, production of text assets, easy data collection. 4 entities, characters. Small physical space, efficient for server and genetic iterations. Highly elevated access permission creates a very stable connection window for data collection in exchange for less realistic simulated scenarios. So here's a thing I'm going to go into a little bit later. I don't think the protag we play is part of the scenario. I don't think it's like one of these employees playing the game. I think they're a wild card, and I'll get into that in a little bit until I read some more. But this also goes into the thing. Basically, this is what I assumed as soon as I started reading the emails, is that Doki Doki is essentially, to use a reference that a lot of Zoomers and more modern people would understand, that's very simple. Doki Doki is like that episode of Rick and Morty where Rick makes a universe, and then that universe makes a universe, and that universe makes a universe. And he comes to them as like God, and that universe goes to everyone as like God. That's what's basically going on here. The simulated universe that we're currently playing, which is the desktop computer here, that's their simulated universe that created the Doki Doki universe. And then they're also mentioning that VM2, which is Project Libertania possibly, is creating their own universe. So they're creating their own Doki Doki. So there's a bit of a hop going on here. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be like a little bit of a nod like, well, Dan created this universe, what if we're created? Kind of thing like that. I feel like that's where the storyline's going to go. So here's DDLSC text with Doki Doki Literature Club. Doki Doki Literature Club. Welcome to the rebellion. We're all working our asses off of our jobs online, so we might as well have some fun with it too, right? I totally get why Paula wants to rush into data collection, but my proposal is to shift our efforts a little and build out some new features for making real-time connection to the VM more useful and fun. If we're basically simulating a miniature universe, then it's kind of a waste to not be able to spend some quality time in there, right? But actually, I think wrapping this whole thing in the guise of a video game is a great and hilarious way of covering our tracks. And if we do a good enough job, we might even be able to present the prologue as a useful endeavor. Key selling points: 5 to 6 hours of misery, dread, and cute girls. Nice. Learn through the existential crisis of others. How to cope with your own simulated universe. Witness the destruction of the universe over and over, in video game form. This could be absolutely amazing. And know the irony isn't lost on me. Creating a secret team within a secret team is more meta than I signed up for. And that's saying something considering we literally work for Metaverse Enterprise Solutions. We can come up with a fake game studio name and everything too. Obviously no plans to go public with this, but it would be a good part of the whole disguise. Plus I want a cool team that makes us feel like a bunch of heroes saving the universe. Kidding. But at least saving our jobs. Something like Team Salvation? Like Dan's name, last name. Track 6 Name Ideas. Operation Not a Game by Ivy Laster. Control Simulation Track 6 Name Ideas. Work together, discussion time, debate time, brainstorm, listen up, teamwork time, let's discuss, let's teamwork, I'll handle it, leader, take the lead. Text-based names, maybe for another track. Woo. Mess text. Infrastructure company, software communication system, would understand the modern day challenges of running an enterprise company with efficiency and reliability. That's why you can count on us to get the job done. So you can focus on the business that matters most. With world-class engineers and industry-leading specialists, Metaverse Enterprise Solutions will always deliver solutions that last. Cost per year analysis shows that Metaverse Solutions saves up to 30% in the long run, and our flexible support model ensures that a quality can be delivered at the price point that is right for your company's size. Your time is valuable. That's why from planning to design to installation, our experts do the work for you. Filling out our simple questionnaire is all it takes for the team to recommend the right plan of an affordable quote. Excellence is right around the corner. With solutions you can count on and experts you can trust, this is our promise to you. You're in good company. This is 14 text. Dearest Ive, wherever the year's going, doesn't feel like ever since we graduated, we're just the same doofy college kids that we were putting into increasingly adult situations. It's hard to believe how much can happen in just 1 year, but all my memories this year are full of reminders why you've been my very best friend for so long. My gratitude for you is higher reaching than the mountains I'm gonna live in after faking my death. Throw back to you actually entertaining that plan after helping break up with Daphne. This day I can never tell how serious or joking you are about things, or life in general. But I think I would literally implode if I didn't have you to remind me that things never matter as much as they seem in the moment, and that things will always be okay. Imagine if we really do end up working together at Metaverse. That's the only way I think I can be capable of coping with the mundane desk job. I know you said your referral of me won't go very far, because you're not a senior engineer. But, as I'm coming out from my rough patch, it's the future I imagine for myself every day. I'm sorry for always being such a bundle of stress. I always feel like I want to be doing more for you, because the amount you do for me just seems more like more than anything I can give back. You inspire me to always improve, and when I don't believe in myself, I stay motivated to become a better person, so that I can deliver all my best qualities to you. I love you, and I always will, until we face the end of the world together. Wishing for another 14 million years of friendship. Going by how they're describing their world, this last part might actually be true. With everlasting love, Paula. So yeah, Paula did get on the team. And this is one of the ones you get at the start of the game. It doesn't make a big deal. This is a scratch disk. Do not use this to store sensitive or permanent things. If you need access to files from the encrypted file share, copy them to your disposable drive and plug directly into the Fin client. Do not copy them here. Rio is working on straight up the proxy mail server so you can get proper remote communication without having to worry about the higher-ups. Keep everything offline until then. And then Traceback. So Traceback might have been in the original, I don't remember. But I'm just going to show it here anyways. Traceback text, Commander Quantum Server build, VM Runtime build 116, container title Doki Doki Literature Club, run date. Uncaught VM runtime exception occurred. Execution stack trace, script call, chapter 5 main, etc. Exception. Oh jeez, I didn't break anything, did I? Hold on a second, I'll probably fix this, I think. Actually, you know what? This would probably be a lot easier if I just deleted her. She's the one who's making this so difficult. Well, here goes nothing. So this is a reference to how Monika deletes Sayori. I think these lines right here specifically appear behind her during that one ending. But when you kind of get together with all the rest of the lore we've got, with the whole dimensional thing, then this thing about the VM runtime and the quantum server, all that stuff, it has a whole nother like meaning. Now I'm just going to go through the files here, all the stored poems and stuff like that. I will not be reading the poems. I've read them during the main game, but I'll just kind of like quickly breeze through it. If you want to read it, just pause the video, or they're online most likely. You probably can just read them there, because they're just from the original anyways. But yeah, we're going through the wallpapers right now. Pretty much is exactly what it is. Now we're going to go through the poems. You see these throughout the main game. Once again, I will not be sitting on these or reading these or anything, because you've probably seen them many times, and if you want to read them, you can just freeze the video. These are just the CGs of the main game. Nothing over them. I believe the only major change with Doki Doki Plus the CGs is just they are supposedly higher resolution. Aside from that, I don't think there was like any art tweaks, anything like that. Just Monika. This one you specifically can't get in the main game. You have to come here and get this later. Here are the special poems, which took me the longest to unlock because they are randomized for every run, they are unique to every run, and you can get the same ones multiple times in the same run. So this took me actually a whole day of restarting the game and replaying it just to get all these special poems. This one's particularly cool because this one does start as a dot when you first see it, and then it changes into I love you. Here is the secret opening of the game, which occurs randomly. The rest of these are just background CGs. They did add some new ones, because for the new side stories, that's about it. And here is concept art. This is the curious one. Because like I said, you unlock this one essentially when they start talking about Monika's altering or messing around with another character. And that's why I'm thinking it has something to do with Protag. Proto Monika. I will say, in a personal opinion, Natsuki's concept changes was a huge improvement. Everyone else kind of looks like what you expect them to look like. And this one is kind of acknowledged in the main game, actually, when Monika mentions that she never got a chance to show herself with a casual outfit, everyone else did. This piece of art, I'm assuming, was kind of a throwback to that line. And here is what I would describe as probably the hardest and like ultimate unlock of the game. Also, I should note, if you read the description, it's never previously been shared. So that, like I said, that is unique to this game right now. And that is all gallery unlocks. So yeah, that's it for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. So I'm going to kind of collect my thoughts and everything about the game, and kind of lore I was kind of explaining to you a bit. So we have the original Doki Doki Literature Club, which is just a kind of meta game. It's kind of having a lot of nods to other little games, other meta games, stuff like that. It's a bit of a deconstruction of dating sims and everything, and the idea of living in a game world. Then we have Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, which I believe is, in some ways, a separate canon than the original, which is a little standalone. Plus, links together with an eventual sequel that looks like Dan is making, and it's going into the whole realm of Doki Doki is a real world, but actually a simulation in code, so that way these people who are in a simulation of code can come to terms with them being in simulation of code, and whenever Monika appears in their world, and so on, repeating. And then the sequel is going to have a world within a world also. I think it's going to go into that type of stuff. I don't think the sequel is going to be just, here's a dating sim and we're going to deconstruct it. I think Dan maybe is thinking of going really really out there with it, where it's not a straight structure. Because from his perspective, here's what I think he's thinking. I think he thinks, I can't just continue the Doki Doki character's story straight on. Their story is kind of done. Maybe we can bring Monika and them back. Maybe they'll like revive. Who knows, whatever. But as far as like outside like cameo or this or that, their story is done. I can't just rehash it. I cannot make another world and just have it be similar like story beats, because the spoilers are already out. Everyone already knows, like, oh, this is really a horror game and it's all meta and stuff like that. Everyone already knows. He's probably thinking like, oh, I just can't repeat those beats also. So while he's thinking of how to structure the game for consoles, because they can't like alter the files like we can on PC, he comes up with like, and he kind of hints this and some other things that he was on his website and stuff like that. He kind of comes up with, oh, game within a game within a game within a game. And they're all experiments running games within a game within a game within a game. So I think he's gonna, in a way, Doctor Strange it. He's gonna make something that's gonna be very non-linear. It's not gonna just be a dating sim horror game or something like that. It'll probably have some aspects of that, but I think it's going to be a kind of out there story. It'll probably be called something else, like some other anime kind of name, and we'll maybe get into the characters of this world of this simulated like desktop or something. And assuming there's gonna be a girl called Marla. Maybe Marla. Maybe something else with like some alteration of that, who's gonna be that world's Monika. And I think Monika will come back specifically. Because even when you delete Monika, she is still there. It's like she's kind of lurking. Because you have to remember, they made the side stories after the events of Doki Doki. They are actually a soft sequel, or a hidden sequel. And Monika still has her powers. They all know how to get rid of her powers. They just hid them away. So that means in some ways Monika is still an entity that's going to be in play. So maybe there is still a happy ending somewhere over the rainbow. Or maybe she'll come in and she'll somehow alter the other world, maybe be a catalyst or something like that. Now, on my opinion on the story changes, and like Doki Doki Plus in general, now, if you were just to play Doki Doki by itself, I would almost recommend just playing the original if you have a PC and everything. I think the file altering is more immersive, obviously, because of that. And the metaverse storyline does not necessarily improve your enjoyment of Doki Doki. It can almost be a little bit distracting or spoilery. So if you're not playing it like something like a Nintendo Switch and stuff, I would actually recommend someone play the original free game. If they love the characters, come back to Doki Doki Plus, just hit the skip button and just go for the side stories. It's very easy, so you don't have to go that far into the game. But you do lose a little bit of something. You lose a little bit of the deconstruction aspect when you make it metaverse. But I can also say that Dan may be onto something. He may have an idea for an interesting storyline, something that's very different from the original Doki Doki, and maybe that's the only way he felt like he could have done it. But yeah, anyway, so that's it for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I'll see you guys later, and take it easy.